Thank you, Paul, and my dear friends who did the toasting, for beautiful and heartwarming words. I'm really flooded with warm memories, and I will cherish this event for a long time. I would be speechless, but fortunately, I prepared a speech. In fact, I prepared two speeches. First, I was going to talk about Zalman Bernstein, Zichrono Livracha, Avichai's founder, you can see on the side screens, his amazing business success, his Jewish journey from ignorance to observance, and his desire to have Avichai spend his money in the lifetime of the trustees he knew. You can read about Zalman in our letter in the program book. Second, I was going to describe the ways in which Avichai invested $350 million in day school education in North America, part of $1.2 billion that Avichai spent globally. For that, you can see our exhibit in the Green Dream Lab. Instead of telling you facts and details you can learn elsewhere, I want to share with you why I feel incredibly blessed in my work over the past 25 years and why I am so optimistic about the future. Hopefully this will interest you because you all play a starring role. I've had more than my fair share of extraordinary mentors and colleagues at Avichai. I started at the foundation when I was 28 years old, really just wet behind the ears in my legal career, knowing little about the fields of Jewish education or philanthropy. I will be forever grateful to Zalman Bernstein for taking a risk on me, and to Buddy Silberman, Zichrono Livracha, a trustee who became my teacher, my advisor, and my best advocate. Just in response to Ari, everybody is looking for our money. Buddy Silberman once taught me, and I have it hanging in my office, when people say to a foundation they want your advice, it means they want your money. Sometimes, if you give them your money, they'll take your advice. Fortunately, from the outset, I had two amazing partners and lots of help from educators in the field. First, the partners, Dr. Marvin Schick and Lauren Merkin. Marvin is a distinguished day school president and communal leader, and he had prepared a book-length report for the foundation on day school needs. Lauren, then a new trustee and publishing executive, was ready to throw herself in the work. To give you a sense of Lauren's creative and caring personality, she's the one who suggested more than 20 years ago that Avichai send to every student who joins the day school system in high school a starter Jewish library, a box of Sfarim. We have now sent out more than 6,000 libraries. I met someone here who was a recipient and is now a Jewish educator. Marvin, Lauren, and I figured the best way to learn would be to visit schools and gain information about needs and opportunities. Over 2 years, we visited somewhere between 100 and 150 of your schools across the country, in the metropolitan New York area, and also in Los Angeles, Chicago, Atlanta, Columbus, and more. The programmatic agenda we built, with the support of the trustees headed by Arthur Freed and Mem Bernstein, who you heard is here, was based on this learning from you. I'm happy to tell you that in addition to being educational, the school visits were also spiritual experiences. I remember one visit to a poorly funded school in Brooklyn. They were for students from the former Soviet Union. Rising above all of the financial and educational obstacles we learned about during the visit, we experienced a purity of purpose that literally gave us chills. I remember the conversation in the car back. My personal inspiration continued as we got deeper into the work. I had been blessed to become colleagues and chabrutot with Jewish educators and volunteers, driven by a covenantal vision based on love of Hashem, love of children, love of Israel, love of Torah, and love of teaching. Let me tell you a story about the first time I cried on the job. Just a few of you in this room were here then. It was 2002, a year of terrible terrorism in Israel. Avichai was funding an educator training program at the Pardes Institute in Jerusalem that continues today. The program involves 2 years of Torah and pedagogy study, followed by at least 3 years of teaching in North America. 2 students in the second cohort of the program, Marla Bennett and Ben Blutstein, were killed in a suicide bombing in the Hebrew University cafeteria. Another student was injured. I didn't cry then, even though my heart stopped when I first heard the news. I remember it as clearly as I remember 9/11. A few months later, I spoke at the Pardes graduation in June. As I began, it hit me, suddenly and deeply, that every student in the program had remained in Pardes after the bombing, committed to being in the state of Israel and committed to a career in Jewish education. That's when I started crying. Tears of hope, tears of catharsis, and over again in the past 25 years, I have been moved by your commitment and love. I have been inspired by the dreams you have shared. To paraphrase Dr. Erica Brown from last night, your dreams are big dreams about ascending a ladder to the heavens. You in this room and beyond have made it deeply meaningful for me to come to work, and you are my heroes. Please stand and give yourselves a round of applause. I have also been blessed to see a paradigm shift in Jewish education in North America, which is now more professional, leading edge, and child-friendly than many of the schools that I visited in the 1990s. The changes have been driven by you, passionate and innovative educators, program directors, school leaders, teachers, volunteers, and funders who believe that our children deserve the best. So I want to mention 3 areas of change. 1, in the past 25 years, thousands of principals and teachers have participated in training and mentoring programs that didn't exist when I started in 1994. On the curricular side, Jewish studies and Hebrew is no longer the poor stepchild. Today, there is even competition among providers, enabling schools to select attractive materials most appropriate for them. These programs and options have been game changers. Now, a few people before mentioned the program at Harvard. The subsidy for our principals to attend that program emerged directly from those school visits in the 1990s. We saw a certificate from the program on the wall of a principal, and we asked, and the principal said it was an amazing program. So the next year we sent a few principals just as a pilot, and this past summer we passed 500 participants. Okay, number 2, facilities. In my time at Avichai, over 200 schools have been constructed or renovated, giving tens of thousands of students each year more attractive, better lit, happier school buildings. And with a groundswell of schools created in the late 90s, families today have more day school options than ever. Number 3, we all want not only learning, but joy. When I visit schools today, in most cases I see smiling children deeply engaged in learning with one another and in small groups. Sometimes the students are actually teaching one another. Children in younger grades have access to fun software that supports their learning, and older students can retrieve much of the Jewish library online, hyperlinked to make the sources accessible in ways unimaginable when I started at Avichai. When I see the combined effects of the changes in training, curricula, facilities, and pedagogy, I see a field transformed. As I count my blessings, I also count Prizmah. There is now a national day school organization providing conferences, services, networking, and programs to the impressive range of schools represented here. Prizmah is still in its early stages, benefiting from the experiences and leadership of its predecessor organizations and their leaders, Pardes, P, Dravsak, the Schechter Day School Network, and the YU School Partnership. Impressively, Prizmah has attracted an extraordinary board of directors committed to their local day schools and the national day school system. Stellar professionals who pulled off this amazing conference and so much else, and a strategic plan that sets an exciting direction going forward. I feel truly privileged to be on Prizmah's board. I am so grateful to Anne, Paul, of course, our founding chair, Kathy Manning, and all the other board members, and the whole staff. Mazel tov on this great conference. I also want to express my deep appreciation to the funders in the room, who will continue to support the day school field in years to come. Day schools raise approximately $500 million annually to support their own operations. A much smaller sum is contributed to cross-school or national efforts, and the number of foundations involved in this regional or national work has grown considerably. I feel fortunate to see new programs and prizes develop, and I have been truly blessed to learn with and from thoughtful philanthropic partners passionately dedicated to the Jewish people. And one sentence to my fellow staff members at Avichai, with more to come on a private occasion. I am so enormously grateful to you for being my partners and teachers, friends, and family. With friends, teachers, and colleagues such as you all inside and outside the foundation, is it any wonder that I have loved my work for the past 25 years? At Avichai, we talk about commitment to Jewish literacy, religious practice, and the state of Israel, that crazy LRP thing that was in the song. We know that these are commitments you share, even as you face daily cultural headwinds that we may not fully appreciate in our offices at the foundation. You became Jewish educators not because it was easy, but because it was hard, and because it was very important. We know that you have the courage to be countercultural and the drive to compellingly interpret Jewish values and practices for modern ears. We know that you will persevere, and we have faith that in the long term you will triumph. Some observers of philanthropy argue that the most important legacy of a foundation is the organizations and programs that will survive and continue to benefit the community in future years. We are proud of the many programs that will continue, but we consider our greatest legacy to be the thousands of leaders and educators who have participated in and benefited from our programs, the ones dreaming about the ladders ascending to the heavens. We have confidence in the future because we have confidence in you. Next year at this time, you might paraphrase Yosef's question in Breshit and ask, Ha'od Avichai Chai? Does Avichai live? The practical answer will be no, but the truest answer will be yes. The foundation's values and principles will survive through the continuing work of our grantees, through innovators and innovations not yet imagined that will be supported by funders here now and by those who will come forward later, and through your dedication and creativity. We will always be grateful. Thank you to my friends at Prizmah for giving us this platform to celebrate together and for offering me the opportunity to deeply and sincerely express our gratitude to you all. Thank you and enjoy the music. Thank you.